Good afternoon, everybody. It's raining here. Is it raining by you? So, who's here today? Anybody here? I'm going to give it a few minutes. I'm actually 4 minutes late, but I'm always waiting for you guys. So, if you're here, please come in. We're going to talk about Boswellia, Porphyria today. Come on, everybody's home, so you're all stuck in your houses. So I know that you're all there. It's just a matter of if you're going to be here. At least give me a reason to go, not to go back to figure out the bank statement that I'm working on that I can't seem to reconcile. But, so there are two people. Marge is here. Hey, Marge, how you doing? It's got to be pretty late there or early in the morning. It is 5 o'clock here, so what is it there? Is it 5 in the evening there? No, it's 5 o'clock in the evening here, so it must be 5 o'clock in the morning by you. So you're really up early. So we're going to eventually talk about Porphyria if we get more than you. So, and if not, I guess I'll be talking to you and whoever else sees the live in the group. So, how come nobody manages to come at this hour? I try to get it close enough so that everybody's around. And if I do it in the middle of the afternoon, that's no good for me. So it's 7 a.m. So it's early for you, later for me. So that's not too bad if it's 7 a.m. Who else is here? There are 3 people. So say hello to me so I know you're here. I know there's a little bit of lag. And I really wish it would tell me who's here. It doesn't tell me who's here until you guys type. So if you don't type, I have no idea that you're here. It's the weirdest program. You would think at least it would show you who's here. So please type to me and tell me that you're here. It's showing me that there are 5 people. So don't be shy. At least tell me, say hi, Robin, so I know you're here. I'd like to go over a few things before we get to the to Porphyria. So I'd like to just talk about a couple of things before we get there. I hope everybody is staying safe and all's well at your house. This is my office you see behind me, and I got all the resins here and everything else that I work on. So I just want to tell you that you know that I'm running a Mother's Day special. If you purchase $75 of resin of your choice, you get what's behind me right there, and it's burning Porphyria right now, is the beautiful resin burner that works by a candle. So, and it moves up and down, so you have the ability to be able to use it the way you want. So if you purchase $75, I'm sorry, if you purchase $75, I'm going nuts already. If you purchase $75 of the resin, you get either my beautiful, I gotta shake it so you can see, my beautiful frankincense rose serum. It's got, you can actually see it, it's got 24 karat gold in it. It smells, and it's got a beautiful bottle. It's 1 ounce of pure pleasure. You can use it as a as a light perfume. I actually made it for myself, and I liked it so great that I decided to sell it. So Hydurine. So it is absolutely beautiful. It's got dried rose buds that I infused in fractionated coconut oil, and then I took the Boswellia Qatari extract, and I infused that in safflower oil. And it is it just smells absolutely beautiful. And you have a choice between that one and this one. This one is in jojoba, that's why it's darker. This has got lavender in it, also the Boswellia extract. It's very good for the fine lines in here. It also can be used as a light perfume. I have LME resin that I had acquired a while ago, and I still have a little bit left. So I put it in here also. So it has a really nice smell. And with the fact that it has LME and lavender in it, you can you can actually put it over here and open up your sinuses. So it smells, LME is used for congestion, but LME has a very sweet fragrance, so you can actually use it as a perfume or again as for fine lines. So you can pick which one you want if you spend $75 worth of resin, and it makes a wonderful Mother's Day present. The only way to get it, because there was no way I could figure out how to put it on my website, was that you need to email me. And if you email me, what I will do is I will send you a PayPal invoice for it. You go to the store, you go to my store, which I put in the comments in here. You pick out what you want. You figure out which ounces you want. Hi, Matthew. You figure out what ounces you want, and then you email it, and I'll put it all together, and I will send you a bill, and then you pay for it. That was the only way I could figure out how to do it. The other special I have is with the Royal Hajari Green Sacra that I have, and the Royal Hajari Sacra I got at a phenomenal price, and I'm passing it to you. It is green Sacra. What happens with Sacra, from what I understand, is certain times of the year, when it's harvested, it could be light green or it could be dark green. It depends on the time of the year. This one happens to be as of, I think it's early January, February, and it's mostly light because climate change is what does it. But since I got it at a great price, I'm passing it off to you. And if you purchase 4 ounces of it, then you can get this little burner at 0.25% off. So it's a great deal. I try to put it together so that it would be least expensive for everybody. And then you can also do the same deal with Fariana, first grade Fariana, which is absolutely gorgeous. And you can get the burner 1/4 off. And the deal is good until Mother's Day. So, as I said, the first one you have to email me. It's in the Frankincense group. I already posted it in there. And then, of course, we have my book. You can still purchase the book from me, or you can purchase the book from Lulu. Lulu is the publisher that I use to publish the book. And the book, through Lulu, I would advise you to get it if you live out of the country, out of the United States, because they have printing shops all over the world, and their pricing for shipping is way less than I could send it to you. So I suggest that if you don't look, hi Veronica, thank you. Veronica said you look great. Ugh, I think I'll take you home. So if you are outside the United States, get it through Lulu. And if you're inside the United States, then get it through my website. I did put it on Etsy, but it is on my website also, because Etsy charges a fortune for fees. So I'd rather you get it from me, because if you get it from me, then you get it from my site. It works better for me, and I can give you better discounts. So, as I said, I also just put out a post, just so you know, when you purchase this book, inside the book, there'll be a coupon for 20% off at my Robbins Resins Plus store. And it's good for all of May until the first week of June. So you'll get to buy resins at a lesser price, and do some of the recipes that are in here. So I try to make the book at least amount of money as I could, so that because so many aromatherapy books are a fortune. Are these deals just for us? No, the deals are for everybody. So the deals are not just for the Frankincense group. If you have friends who want to get the book, they're going to get 20% off also. So not of the book, 20% coupon that will go inside the book. So also, if you purchase from my Robbins Resins Plus site, if you buy $80 or more, I will give you free priority shipping. If you purchase from me and you live outside of the United States, I'm only doing priority shipping at this point. The mail is so terrible, it sucks. And for Australia, what's been happening, it's been taking between 3 and 6 weeks to get to you. If I do it priority, you have a better chance of it coming faster. Also, the tracking is better, and I can insure the resins that I send you, and I can insure the book. On flat rate shipping, I can't do that. So if you want to purchase from me resins, then I wouldn't suggest you getting the book from me. Get it from Lulu. The shipping is less. But if you want to purchase resins from me, then I'm only doing priority, because I want to make sure that you get it. So, and I don't want you to have to wait 2 months to get your resins. So that's the book. I put some pictures up in the group of what's inside the book, and it's a great book. It's all about frankincense. I explain each frankincense. Not only do I explain it, Porphyria is in here too. I also give you recipes on how to use it, and I give you extra pages to write notes. I always like books like this better than ebooks, because ebooks you can't touchy-feely it and you can't write in it. This you can write in. So again, there's my book. It's I have enough to give you at this point, to sell to you at this point. And as I said, if you need to, outside the United States, get it from Lulu. The other thing, so let's get into Porphyria. Porphyria is really interesting. I'm going to show you the resin first, and then I'm going to talk about it. I put it in this, so you can actually see what the resin looks like. It's a yellowish color. It's yellow with a little bit of gray in it. and it comes about this size. It comes from Ethiopia and the Sudan area. It's mostly from Ethiopia, and there's not much of them. There are not a lot of trees growing, so it's very hard to get it. So when I was told I could get it, I grabbed it. So, and I could only get 5 kilos of it. So I decided, what the heck, I try, and I got it. It came from Germany. It took over 7 weeks to get to me. So you can imagine what the mail is like. It's terrible. It has a lemony pine smell. Smells pretty good. It smells better when it's burnt. In the bag, which is concentrated, it smells better. But if you hold it up and you put it in front of your face, it really doesn't smell like Qatari or Sacra or Neglecta or Revere smells like. But when you burn it, which I am, it's behind me, it does, the smell comes out. The resin is very interesting. It comes, a lot of it looks like this, which is the tears, and some of it doesn't. It depends on how it comes off the tree. But it's very different from other frankincense because it has a large amount of octyl acetate and octanol in it. These two chemical markers, incenol and incenol acetate, studies have shown that the incenol acetate affects the central nervous system and has psychoactive properties, which means actually you can actually hallucinate if you use too much of papyrifera. So you got to be very careful with papyrifera because some people have told me they've gotten bad dreams from it. And some people tell me they get dreams that are fairy-like. So it's a very interesting resin. Because of the psychoactive properties, many people also feel that it can handle anxiety and stress. And it can work 2 ways. So you got to be very careful. It's not like Neglecta, which basically is wonderful for anxiety or stress, and it doesn't have any psychoactive properties to it because it doesn't have these chemical. I'm itchy from holding it up. The powder popped up into my nose. The Neglecta doesn't have these properties, so even though it does anxiety and stress a lot better than papyrifera, it's still, you have to be careful with papyrifera. I would burn it and not burn a lot and see how it affects you before you actually decide to continue burn it. If you find that it makes you a little crazy, then don't burn it. If it finds that it actually relaxes you, then burn it. You can make an infusion of it and see if it helps that way also. Most of the papyrifera is sold to the churches. The churches use it a lot because in the pendulum that they swing, they put papyrifera because they feel that since it's very hallucinatory, that it might bring you might actually, some people have actually said it, that you feel like you're either closer to God or you actually see Jesus. So that's how hallucinatory it can be. And when they use it in the churches, that's one of the reasons, because they want you to feel like you're standing in front of the Almighty. It does contain boswellic acid, so which also can be used for anti-inflammatory. It is definitely anti-inflammatory, so it can be mixed. I wouldn't mix it that much, but it can be mixed in salves and lotions and made into and mixed that way. What I would do is use very little. If you're going to make it into a lotion or a salve, try it out first. What I would do is burn it first and make sure that you have no relaxed high-lows, have no reaction to it. And then if you have no reaction to it, then you can make a salve, and it's excellent for anxiety and stress. So it's a matter of playing with it and see how it works for you. You can, I'm selling it as 2 ounces, so you can get 2 ounces of it, and basically that's enough for you to play with it to see how it works. It comes as it's made into an essential oil, and the essential oil gives you the same exact feelings. It has the essential oil, doesn't have the boswellic acid in it, but it does have the other chemicals in it. So you need to be very careful with it, even in the essential oil. Use very little of it and see how your body reacts to it. If you have no problems, it's wonderful. If you have a problem, then don't use it again. Or try it on somebody else and see if it helps them. So that's basically Porphyria. As I said, I'm burning it here, and I don't have any problems with it. It doesn't cause bad dreams for me, and I like the smell of it when I burn it, and it's also very relaxing. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll infuse it, and then I will mix it with Neglecta together and use it for depression or anxiety. So it can be used for that too. So does anybody have any questions while you got me on Porphyria? Anybody? There are 10 of you here. I can't believe you're all silent. I think it's very pretty. It's a very pretty color. So again, I will show it to you. I gotta find where the camera is. There it is. So it's got a couple of pieces in it that are darker, but for the most part, and my camera is terrible, it is yellow. Me looking at it, it's yellow. So you seeing it, it's yellow with a little bit of gray, but there's really not gray in it as I'm holding it in my hand. So, as I said, it's very hard to get. Not everybody carries it because it's only produced certain times of the year. Is this the one I would use in tea? No. You could try it and see. I've tried it and it didn't thrill me for tea. The one that you would use for tea is Sakura or Katari. Those are the two that basically work very, very nice in tea. The Porphyria, you can try. The worst is nothing will happen. I would definitely make it a powder. I would grind it into a powder for tea. I would not leave it like this. Somebody once asked me, what if I put this in tea? Can I get the same result? No, because by the time this melts, you're not getting what you want to get out of it. You want to get fast results. Remember, they're hard. So I can hardly break it. So it's going to take a while to dissolve in tea. When it's in powder form, it dissolves 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to get the benefit of it. If you put it in here, you're going to be waiting and waiting. If you're going to put a couple of these in your tea, you're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting. And by the time you are trying to get rid of your stress, forget it. You're going to be more stressed just waiting for it to melt. So I would definitely, all of them, make a powder out of it and use it that way. Hey, Kathy. So, but you can try it and see if it helps. It doesn't have that much of a smell, and I don't know. As I said, I tried it in tea, and I wasn't thrilled. But I've done saccharin tea, and I've done Qatari tea. And you cannot do neglector in tea. It's not water soluble. So it's just going to float up on top, and you're not going to get anything out of it. The same thing with Fariana. Fariana is not water soluble. It's just going to float, and nothing's going to melt. It will melt sort of in water, but you'll be beat it up. So the only thing they're good for is for infusions. They're much better for infusions than putting them in water. Because they're not water soluble, you're not getting anything out of it. Anybody else got any questions? Questions. I also make, so that if you people are lazy, like me, I make, this is, let's see if I can open it. This is Boswellia neglecta infused. And this is my sample. So I'm going to open it up. It's in fractionated coconut oil. Smells like heaven. It's very good. This is very good for anxiety and stress. So what you do, if you make it yourself or you buy it from me, you take some of it and you put it right by your temples. It's excellent here for stress. And then you can take it like this. Bring it up to your nose and smell it. And it's wonderful for stress. I use it a lot. I also use it if you're coughing. You can rub it right on your chest. And that's the other thing I use it for, is I use it for when I get a bad cough. So this is infused in coconut oil. It was infused for about 40 days. I am selling this. This is 2 ounces of it, and I'm selling it for $20. And it'll last you quite a bit of time. So if you want to purchase from me, it's on my website. So that's the other thing. Do all the species of frankincense, all right, Kathy's asking, do all the frankincense species work well with alcohol-based tinctures? Oh God, I'm definitely losing it. Most of them do. I have never seen a problem. I've done it with, I find it works better with Everclear than anything else. Everclear seems to pull everything out of it. I make my myrrh tincture with it for my, I have problems with my gums, so I make a bottle of about this with Everclear, and but I would leave it in there for about 2 weeks to give it a good pulling out. And it should have no problem. All of them should work well with any heavy-duty alcohol. It has to be at least 90 to 100% alcohol for it to pull it out. If it has water in it, then the only ones that it won't work with well is Fariana and neglector. If there's water in the tincture that you're making. But if you're using straight alcohol, you should have no problem at all. Marge says, I'm interested that they are all resin, but some are water soluble and some are oil soluble. Yeah, well, talk to the trees. Because the two that, as I said, that are not water soluble is Fariana and Neglecta. And you'd be very surprised because Fariana and Neglecta are very, very oil soluble. And it melts within minutes. If you put it into a warm bath, either one of them, that's why I say with Fariana, no more than 20 minutes in a warm bath, because otherwise you'll start to burn it. So you don't want burnt resin. And the same thing happens with Neglecta. So 20 minutes is more than enough in a warm bath. And then you can leave it for about a month. Just keep shaking it. And you'll find after a month, you'll be left with hardly any particles. You'll have mostly sludge at the bottom. You will have basically no pieces. So you really can't use the leftover. The only thing what I do with the leftover, because it's more sludgy, is I put it in my garden. It works as a great fertilizer. But I don't put it in soap because it doesn't have the grittiness like Katari or Sacra or Revere or any of the other resins. So that is basically the only problems with them. Kathy, yes, I have Everclear, so just pure Everclear, and no, I would not put the water in. If you're going to do it with, if you're going to do the resins, not myrrh, the rest of the resins, I would do it with the Everclear first. Let it pull all the chemicals out. Then if you want to add water, you can add water afterwards. You're better off doing it that way. But understand that as soon as you put that water in, it's only going to last between 1 and 2 weeks. And that's in the refrigerator. Remember what happens with anything that's in a bottle. The thing that is basically lasting the longer is that the shelf life that lasts longer is the actual product that has a long shelf life. But if you are putting water in it, now you're changing the entire formula, and the thing that has the shortest shelf life is when it's going to turn. So if you don't put water in it, that tincture can last you over a year, providing no water got anywhere into that jar. That's why you use a sterilized jar. Yeah. You use a sterilized jar, and I tell people don't put your face in it, because if you look down in it, you have particles of water that are on your face and could possibly one little drop dropping into that solution can turn the whole thing. And then you'll find in 2 to 3 weeks, you'll look at the jar and you'll have those white looms in it. And all you can do now with it is take it and spill it out. You can't use it because now it's infected with bacteria. So what I do with my myrrh, when I do my tinctures, I do only an Everclear. And what I do is I take a 2-ounce cup of water, regular water, whether I use spring water or whether I use distilled water, doesn't matter. It depends on what you're using it for. And I will use one of those eyedroppers, and I will take the eyedropper and take the solution out and then drop the eyedropper into the cup of water. And I gargle with that. This way, you're only using this much of Everclear, and you're getting the full properties of what came out of the resin, and then you're putting it in the water afterwards. Make sure you don't put the dropper in the water. You just squeeze it over the water, because now you can't use that again if you're using a jar. I have a jar that has a dropper in it with some of the myrrh in it that I keep. It's a glass jar, and I keep it in my bathroom. So no, the alcohol tincture does not need to be stored in the refrigerator. Just in a cool, dry, not in the sun place. It's a very interesting story, because when I interviewed Marty from Boswellness, and we came out to visit them, I asked him about the mouthwash that he uses, and he told me his is 2 years old and it's still in excellent condition. No bacteria in it. Remember, resins have their own preservatives in it, and the Everclear can last as long as it's closed and not left out to the air. Can last a very long time, 2 to 3 years. So you could get a long usage out of the tincture as long as you do not put water in that tincture. Then it should last you quite a bit of a long time. So mine is about, I have it in a bottle, and I actually will show it to you. I'm going to get it for you. Here is mine. I made this 3 months ago. It was filled up to here. I've been using it. This was done with Everclear, and this was myrrh. So you see the nice red color. And what I do is I leave it in here, and I take a small little dropper glass, one of those little jars with a dropper top, and I pour it in there, and I keep it in the bathroom. And that one little dropper can last me probably last me about a month, is what I get out of it. And as I said, this is a good 3 to 4 months old, if not longer. It actually could be longer. And as you see, it's red, and there's no looms in it. So it definitely can last a long time. If I had water in it, that would be a problem. Then it would after a week, I probably would start to see something in it. So even if I refrigerated it after a week, it would have a problem. So my suggestion is the same thing with resin, with not just myrrh, but even frankincense resin. Make it with the Everclear or a very high vodka proof. But I believe vodka has water in it also. So then you're running into the problem of the water in the vodka. I'm not sure. I think vodka, if I remember, vodka has some water in it. So it will last you, but not as long as if you did it with Everclear. So, and they say not to drink Everclear. So I'm only putting in, it can't be more than a half a teaspoon that's going into the dropper, and I put it in 2 ounces of warm water, and then I swish it in my mouth. And I use it if I have a toothache. I use it if lots of times we bite our tongue and you want to die afterwards. So I go and grab this, smush it around in my mouth, and the pain is all gone. So, and it's very good for any kind of mouth sores. So, but that's what myrrh is for. Myrrh is very good for anything for the mouth. So, anybody else? Any other questions? Anybody's got any other questions? Hi, Liz. So if you have it, now's the time to ask it. So, but I do that a lot. I bite my tongue if I talk too much, and boom, but this works great. So a friend of mine myrrh has about the same shelf life as frankincense. Myrrh by itself, the resin, or myrrh in a tincture? Which one? If you're talking about the resin, if you keep the resin in what I put it in is I keep them in Ziploc bags. And in Ziploc bags, as long as no moisture has gotten into it and you're not sitting it in the sun, it lasts an extremely long time. Myrrh in a tincture. No, it doesn't. Myrrh can last about the same as any one of the other frankincense. As I said, myrrh, I don't know if you were here, but I had spoken to Marty from Boswellia, and he has the same thing as I have here, and his is over 2 to 3 years old, and it still looks good. So he was the one I actually asked when I interviewed him for my book. And yes, the hydrosol does, because the hydrosol is in water. So I really haven't heard that the myrrh hydrosol has a shorter life than frank hydrosol. I have them both, and they both seem to last the same time. I think the only way that the myrrh would last shorter is if it wasn't refrigerated. So that's the only way any hydrosol, if you don't refrigerate it, it's going to last shorter. I have myrrh hydrosol in the refrigerator, and I distilled at the same time I distilled Feriana, and they're both about 1.5 years old, and they're still in excellent condition. So, I mean, I really haven't heard anything that myrrh hydrosol has a shorter shelf life. So I know it definitely doesn't in a tincture, and I know it doesn't in a salve. As long as you don't add water, it's the water that's the problem. But I can ask and check and see if myrrh lasts shorter. But as I said, I have it, and it's fine for not. It's still in the refrigerator, and it still smells like myrrh, and it's still doing fine. So the only way I would think that myrrh would last shorter is if the resin itself was not kept properly. That's the only way I could think of it lasting shorter. But it's actually harder than myrrh itself is very, very hard, and it's much harder than most of the frankincense resins. So, but I can check, because you learn new things every day. But as I said, my myrrh is still fine. Does anybody else have any problems? Oh, well, I can check with Jamie. Jamie and I are great friends, so that's not a problem. So I can ask her if myrrh is shorter, and if it is, then I will put it in this post that myrrh has a shorter lifespan than frankincense. Frankincense does have a very long lifespan, and as I said, mine is about 2 years old, and it's still doing fine. But I will ask her. It's easy enough to ask her. I speak to her enough all week anyway, so I can definitely ask her. Anybody else? Anybody? Liz, have you read my book? So I actually created a group for the book, and I'm hoping everybody else, hopefully in Australia, gets my book, that the mail will finally get there, which would be really nice. So Liz, tell me, have you read my book yet? I was going to ask you the other day if you read it, but anybody else have any questions? Or you're going to make me slave back to my bank statement where we can't figure out what's wrong. Oh, thank you, Liz. Thank you. I tried. She's clapping. I tried. I worked 2 years on that book and got all the information and everything correct. Yeah, you got to really read it. And I left spaces in there I left pages in there that you can type. I mean, you can write, because I always like a book where you can put information in, and every single one of those recipes I've made. So you know that it actually works. There's a lot of books that have recipes, and when you try it, you can't figure it out for the life of it. So yeah, Marge, I know yours is still in Tokyo. So I don't get it, but I'm hoping it gets there soon. Your book and your resins. And Kathy says, I really like your book. It's going to be an everyday reference for me. Thank you so much. Yeah, Liz, there are 5 books that I sent to Australia, all around the same date. All 5 of them have not gotten there yet. Marge's book is in Tokyo. God knows why. Don't feel bad. I don't feel that bad. I mean, I feel terrible, but then it's in the United States that's having a problem. Yeah, the book's on vacation. Here's a cute one. I sent a book to Rochester, New York. It takes about, by plane, an hour to get there from me, and about 8 hours by car. Take a wild guess where this book wound up, because I've been tracking it. It wound up in Hawaii. Tell me why a book that went from New Jersey to go to New York, where they border each other, wound up on the other side of the United States. It's beyond me totally. It took 2.5 weeks for her to get the book. I don't get it. I sent another one to Renee. Renee's in New Orleans. The book went to Oregon. Now, Oregon is here. New Orleans is here, down here. Tell me why I did that. So my other friend, Emily, whose book went to Hawaii, told me, oh, well, they both have O's. So they figured it might as well go to an O state. She just got the book 2 days ago. Go figure. So that's in the United States. So as I said, there are 5 books have not gotten to the destination yet. Liz asked me what started my passion with the resins. As you know, I'm a clinical aromatherapist. And the biggest problem that I found was that, as we know, using essential oils, you can't use them on a regular basis, because if you're constantly them, you can get sensitized to the oils. Also, they're so highly concentrated that you have to be careful what dilutions you use for each person. So I wanted to, and I had my own problems with I have an autoimmune problem, and I wanted to be able to use something a little bit more long term. So I started researching resins because when we learn it in our aromatherapy courses, we really don't learn about the resin. We learn all about the essential oil and everything to do with the essential oil, but we don't learn about where it comes from. We touch on it, but we don't get down and dirty and get into the resin itself. And that's basically how I got into it. And I said, well, I'm going to do some research. I did research on the internet, and then I contacted Dan Riegler, who is my mentor, and he taught me an incredible amount of information on resins. And then I took some courses from Evan, who runs the Northwest School of Aromatic Medicine. I took I'm in the middle of the incense, learning how to make incense course, but I took his all about resins and incense course. And I also work with, I speak to all the time people from the country where the residents come from, and I get information from them. They're always talking to me. Yeah, the residents guided me on my personal path. That's true. I speak to many people in Somalia and Somaliland on a regular basis through iMessage, through WhatsApp, and they tell me anything new coming out with resins, what's going on with sustainability. I work with organizations online that try to help sustain and make sure that the trees are well taken care of. I work with people in Ethiopia with the same sustainability and everything else. And so I myself are learning every day. So, and it's a wonder to me, and I'm still experimenting with them. So anything new that comes out, I try. I know there's lag. So anything new that comes out, I will tell you about it in the Frankincense group. Any research that I find, I belong to a lot of research organizations on resins. So if something comes out, I will tell you about it. I joined Kelly's AirMat organization and Kelly Bird's organization, and this way I can keep up on anything that is anything that you'll see what I'm talking about in the video, and anything that's endangered I get to see. So there's lots of ways that I keep up on all the resins, and of course on my aromatherapy. So, and it helps me with hospice, since I work a lot with hospice patients. A lot of them can't have essential oils, so I can go to resin instead, especially for anxiety and for pain. I use a lot of the hydrosol for frankincense hydrosols for hospice, and I use a lot of the salves because their hands are very fragile, and I make the salves for their hands, and this way I don't have to worry about dilution rates and concentration rates. And that's how I've done it. So if anybody else has any questions, please ask me now. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off. And if think about any of my specials and anything else, usually I post to my pages and I post to Frankincense group. So anybody else? Marge, thank you. Thank you for coming. I'm hoping as soon as your package comes, I think I'm going to do the resin dance. So I'm watching it every day to see if it's moving. So at least it's in Japan, which is a plus. So it's out of the United States. So all it has to do, but I think the biggest problem of what happened is your state from when your country from when I was told had shut down. So the postage shut down with it. And now that it's slowly up a bit, then maybe the packages will start to move a little faster. So everybody stay safe. Hopefully we will get over this all together. I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.